support my friend Mike. Of course I'm here.
You're starting before I've introduced the show. Hey, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on the date is March 31st. Too bad it's not April Fool's Day. That's tomorrow. You know what? I'm going to turn on a lamp. My light's not too good today. Sorry, I'm using the window and it's dark. It's dark outside. It's going to snow tomorrow. Anyway, Mike Rasmussen. Is that how you say your name, Mike Rasmussen?
It's fine.
You say it. You say it. You say it. You say it.
Mike Rasmussen.
Oh, I got it wrong, everybody. But you know what? I was going to talk about names today, and I like the way he handled it. You say it the way you want. That's the way to do it, okay? And our lovely Amy Miller. I got to say something. I was looking at her. I knew she was coming because he invited her. So I looked at her Twitter stuff before I came to the show, okay? And she's got a new saying I never heard before. I thought it was great. And then I checked it. It's all over the place. It's when she doesn't like somebody, she says, "Not today, Satan. Not today." What is that? You're calling them Satan. Wow.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying the actual person is Satan, but perhaps the devil himself is driving their bad behavior.
I don't mean you.
Not
you, asshole.
Just saying. Whatever evil force is behind your shenanigans, I will not be tolerating it today, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, she's got some good fights. If you like to see someone who likes to punch it up, ALA Recruiter, ALA Recruiter on Twitter. Man, lots of action there. Mike, what's your Twitter address? So if anyone wants to make fun of you, they can.
And I will fight them.
I have to double check it. Hold on.
Why'd you have to get off?
It's at @MR_recruits.
What is it?
At MR_recruits.
MR_recruits. Okay. Let's just get to it. Okay. What would you do? This was just posted on Facebook. A recruiter got this email from a candidate. Quote, "How did I not get the job? You invited me to apply for the position. You interviewed me. Why would you do that if you weren't going to hire me?" Mike, if you got that stupid email, what would you do?
I don't know. Sometimes you have to shake your head. You're like, wow, what is that all about? But anyway, I think sometimes we just have to go with it. If it's a good candidate, you'd want to engage them. I'd want to talk to them on the phone, but I don't know. I think we have to try to figure it out sometimes because I don't know. It's such
Mike, you're not saying anything. Okay. First of all, I coached you before the show. We don't want to see your ceiling. Okay. We want to see your face. Surely you can adjust that a bit. Okay. You've already abandoned. You've got, what's he using? A phone? Me and Amy are gigantic. You're like half the size. Okay. And you're the star of the show.
We're huge.
Huge. Okay. Amy, what would you do? You interviewed me, but you didn't hire me.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah. So the interview process is actually a data collection process, which helps us determine your suitability and fit for the specific role. Sometimes that helps us uncover the fact that what you're really good at just doesn't align to what we need. And we really appreciate your time and wish you the very best.
Well, wouldn't you say what we need at this time to leave a hope in there for the, or you don't really want this person?
I said what I said.
Okay.
No, I mean, look, I get people are frustrated by it, and I do understand job search is emotional. I'm getting my ass kicked all over the internet because I'm daring to actually tell you what's really happening. But if you want to come to me and bitch at me and yell at me and scream at me on any of the social media sites or send me nasty emails, how does that help your case? How is that somebody that I want to keep in touch with or recruit again in the future? Seriously.
So couldn't you say to the person, look, go ahead, Mike.
Look, I have an ex-husband, okay? If I want emotional abuse, I know where to find it. I don't need it from candidates.
I hear you got a few of those, okay?
YouTube channel.
I can't understand it. Amy is so nice. No, actually, I go away from the show. But I say she's so nice, and she does her hair now. I wonder.
Do my hair now?
Yeah. Why is she got a few husbands? I can't figure it out. Those guys are losers. Okay, I'll say it here. This guy's lucky. I always think this guy Miller, he's lucky. Okay.
He is.
Hi,
He actually
Ernie.
asked me the other day.
Hey,
He said,
how
"Do
are you?
people on the internet feel sorry for me?"
You know what? Also think you should promote that guy, Ralph Bungo, or whoever you're using for your hairstyling tips. I like what you've done.
Brad Mondo.
Brad Mondo.
Yeah,
Hey,
Brad
everybody.
Mondo.
If you've got hair, and I think Ernie could take some tips from that guy, and maybe our guest today, Mike Rasmussen, as well.
Yeah.
I know you're all moosed up today on top, Mike.
You got all dressed up.
Okay. You know what? Sorry, this is juvenile. The people who hate me, Amy's not the only person who has people who hate her. Lots of people. I don't understand it. They hate me too. But if you had a candidate, Mike Rasmussen, and I am not making this up, I posted something by this guy about hiring. His Twitter name is I pooped my pants. Would you rule him out on the basis of that Twitter name?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, I would say so. In my opinion.
Okay, even if he was a good candidate.
Weird for me. That would weird me out. I probably would, yeah.
Ernie?
I'd have to talk to him first and see, and then suggest maybe he change the name. And if he was, depending on his reaction, then maybe call the hiring manager.
It would be an issue. And
well, yeah. I mean, if somebody just sees it up front, it's definitely an issue.
Would it be an issue that you'd worry that the hiring manager would be turned off, or would it be an issue because you'd say this guy's mental? Which is it?
The hiring manager. I mean, people hire mental people all the time.
Oh, okay. Are you in on this, Amy? Any comment?
I'm mental too, so I'm employable.
Not a problem for you?
Fine,
Okay.
not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, people let their emotions just get the best of them. I think we've all been trapped in our houses for a year. A lot of people are out of work because of the pandemic and the economy and it's just a mess right now.
That's your all-purpose. I've seen you use that. On your
I use it all.
show.
I mean, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, it's people are losing their minds right now, and and there's also. The internet has made us feel really safe. Oh, I can go bitch at Amy all day long, and I can call her names, and I can do all that because I won't punch you because you're 3,000 miles away. I mean, let's go to a bar and say that and see how that goes, right? But that's not where we're at. That's not the reality. And I think also, and I would love to hear my fellow recruiters' perspective on this. Why is it open season on recruiters? Why is it just the virtue of our jobs and we are public facing and we are, the voice of the company or the face of the company or whatever? Why does that give people the right to treat us badly? That's the shit that I'm really getting tired of. I'm going to start pushing back on.
Yeah, let me talk about that, Amy. I mean, people, I think you're totally right. They're in their safe zone and they feel like, I think people are crazier because of COVID. I mean, there is a human element to all this, but seriously, I mean, if a candidate chews you out on social and has the gall to do it on, especially if you have a thread that's like 300 comments long and they feel safe to go in there and do that. And you don't want that person working at your company. No way.
No matter how good their resume is. Is that what you're saying? Let's say that person's resume is fantastic. Okay.
Resume just is a piece of paper that tells your story. There's so much more to getting hired.
Amy, you're playing this all over the place. I'm just going to say, didn't she just say that crazy's okay with her? Now she's saying, I don't like it when they're rude to me. Okay.
Hey, there's different levels of crazy. Okay. I'm entertaining crazy.
Okay. Stephen O'Donnell's
what of a mess.
Crazy. Okay. I know Amy fought with me on the show about this. So here's a hypothetical, Mike.
Hello, Stephen.
Rasmussen. I can't remember from 2 minutes ago how to say your name properly. Okay. Okay. Jeremy Worthington, the boy wonders here. I haven't seen him for a few years. Okay. He used to call in every week. Here's the thing. Mike Rasmussen, you get seconded. I think you're maybe understand that word. You get sent over to France to work for your company for 6 months or something like that. And they don't use the name Michael over there. They use the name Michelle. If they started calling you Michelle, would you have a hissy fit and say it's racist? I mean, what would happen?
Well, again, I don't know if it's like a cultural thing in that situation. I mean, if it's the way they're just pronouncing your name because of their culture and that's the way they say it, that's one thing, right? But I don't know if I'd get offended by it until I understood why.
That's how they say Michael in French. Wake up, okay? Michael in French is Michel. What is it in Italian, Stephen?
I honestly wouldn't be offended if it was called
Stefano.
Miguel.
Etienne. I don't know what Michael is, but it would be Michelle or Michael. But they would call him Mike because in Europe, they like to say anglicized names in an anglicized way.
Oh, they do.
So
okay, but what if he didn't like Mike? What if he didn't like Mike? You know what? I like to build this show as the home of the microaggression, and that is a microaggression. If you call yourself Michael and they want to call you Mike, that's an outrage. Okay? Is it for you, Mike?
Well, I, as you well know, I wouldn't have anyone call me Steve.
Oh, yeah.
It's far too English, so I'm not having it.
Oh, okay. Anybody else want to come on this? I don't think, it's such an outrage to call somebody by a nickname, okay? Or ask them if they've got, you know what? I was really taking a task. If your name is 20 letters long, do something about it, okay? If you move to the United States, we're not used to it, but people. If
doesn't matter if you're used to it. How do you pronounce your name? What would you like me to call you? These are very simple, courteous things you can do. Seriously, this is such a stupid hill to die on, animal.
Okay, well, I don't know. Mike Rasmussen is going to have to be talking to 100 people a day in France, and why not make it easy for those people to see his name right away and talk to him without being confused.
I think Rasmussen sounds quite French, so there's probably a way of saying it.
Okay.
Well, you look at that with people that have first names that we don't even are familiar with. They change it to like Steve or Bill or something, and they're like, they have a name that's
outrage.
That's totally
Ernie,
different.
you don't understand. That's start erasing somebody's identity. Okay, it's the worst thing in the world. Let's welcome Jeremy Worthington. Do you have a comment on this one? He's a career coach. Okay, he's the enemy of Amy. Okay,
job search coach.
He's
not a career coach.
A job search coach. Okay?
By the time you've gotten to me, you better have figured it out because I'm not here to figure it out.
I love career coaches. I'm actually working on a list of resources for my blog. I want names, focus areas, contact info of career coaches. So if you're interested in being featured or affiliated with me, which may be the deal breaker, send me your info. I love career coaches, but I'm not one.
There's a difference. A career coach helps the individual figure out what they want to be when they grow up. I don't care to have that conversation. My responsibility as a candidate's advocate is to navigate them through their search, prepare them for their interviews, write their resumes, help them deal with recruiters, so to speak, set their expectations, all that fun stuff. So I don't want to give someone the Rorschach test, tell me what you see in the ink blot, and then I'm going to help you figure it out. That's you've done that work by the time you've gotten to me, even new grads.
Okay,
even recent grads.
I'm going to give you a tip. Okay. You sound like you're in a sewer. Okay.
I know. I redid my office and I need some, what do you call those? The echo chamber kind of thing going on here. I get it.
Okay.
Silent.
Okay. I'm going to put this out to Mike first if anybody else wants to come in on this. And this is real. Okay. It's now time for spring break here too, down there in the States as well. Okay. This one recruiter said, I have a hiring manager on one search and he's going for spring break and he's unavailable for interviews, even though they're online. Okay. Would you, this is like, you're desperate to get this position hired. You don't want to lose the candidate, Mike. And the hiring manager, I'm on vacation. I need my own time. What would you say to him or her?
Well, there's a couple of things you can do. The simple thing would be to ask if they have a backup interviewer and would they have someone that could interview while they're out. I think that's sometimes a good way to keep the candidate engaged. That's exactly what I would do. And that seems to work fairly well for the most part. But if this manager said, no, I don't have anybody available, I'd ask them sincerely. I'd say, hey, we got a hot candidate with a great resume. Here's the resume. This person checks all your boxes. Do you want, we should get them in with you this week so we don't lose them. And just be honest with them and say, hey, they might have a couple offers on the table. Do you want to talk to them this week? That manager can make the decision themselves. They're an adult.
Okay, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you my reaction first. Look, buddy, if you can't spend a half an hour from your vacation talking to this person, don't expect me to go out and find somebody else when we lose them. Okay, that's my take.
Nope.
That's my take. Anybody else got an opinion?
Absolutely fucking not.
Ouch.
So, Amy, how do you really feel?
I don't
Amy?
understand what you're saying, Amy. What is
Get off the
Let me
thing.
get one of my many ex-husbands to translate it for you. No, I think first of all, let's tell the whole story. The candidate also was on vacation for spring break. Remember that part of that? Because I saw that
divided it
post
up.
too.
I said it.
Yeah, I know.
differently,
That was
okay?
cute. I saw how you did that.
No, he didn't say-
Regardless.
Oh, no.
Regardless.
He didn't say.
Yeah, I know. He got
didn't
pissy and never came back with the context that he was mad that none of us asked for. I remember that thread very well. Get him on the show and let's discuss it.
You
But
remember
here's
it
my bigger
differently.
point.
I didn't.
I
Think they were for
remember
the same
exactly
job.
how it was
Okay,
written.
okay.
That's the difference.
Anybody?
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Okay. If that is the case, first and foremost, talk to the candidate. Do you have a hard deadline? Is this going to impact you if we punt this out another week? That's number one. Know where the candidate is, because guess what? Candidate might also be out for spring break, in which case this is not a big deal. If there is a hard deadline, if we are at risk of losing the candidate, Mike is absolutely right. Hey, timing is an issue. Let's get a delegate. We don't want to impact your vacation because God knows you deserve it. And thank God you work for a company, my client, that honors vacation time. And let's get the candidate in with someone else. This is not a hard problem to solve. This is a contingent recruiter scared of losing a commission.
You guys are. It's not a hard problem to solve. Yes, it is. Go ahead, next person. Because not everybody works at Amazon or.
Oh, right. I have it so easy.
Yeah,
I forgot.
Yeah, when you, it's one thing. It's one thing when you have it so easy, like Amy. But
Right.
let me just mention this. Sometimes when you're in an executive level, a hiring manager position, this isn't the only call you're going to get. Your boss is going to call you. They're going to take up your time, conference calls. Kids are going to go to the beach. You're staying in that apartment because they need you for a great interview that they got to do, or a conference call all of a sudden. It happens all the time. It used to happen to me. We hated it. So he's just being choosy as to what he can take, because with the hiring manager, he can't. I mean, with the recruiter, he can do that. With everybody else, he might not be able to do that.
Maybe, but we don't know that. That again is context that we didn't get.
Yes, you guys are all adding your own context that change. You guys are adding your own context that change.
But there's no way to answer the question then.
Yes,
the
there is.
answer to the question is, will we need more information before
Anybody
we can
else,
make a judgment call?
Stefano or Boy Wonder, do you want to say any comments?
I would base it on prioritization. If the hiring manager needs somebody to fill that spot bad, that the hiring manager is going to make him or herself available.
They won't. Come on, wake
then
up.
Move on. Then guess what? That hiring manager may miss out on a great candidate because assumptively that candidate's conducting a larger job search.
And
that's going to go out to other organizations and interview with somebody that is available.
You don't know about.
Yeah. If I'm coaching the candidate's going to go inside from the beach or wherever the hell they're at, and they're going to take the call. How bad do you want to work?
Yeah, you can make an interview with your phone now. I mean, how hard is that? But Jeremy, you're making a mistake. You're saying, oh, too bad the hiring manager is going to lose the person. I'm not concerned about the hiring manager. I'm concerned about me. I worked hard to find this candidate.
Fair enough.
You know, if I'm at Amy's office, the person's got, look, who's here. If I'm at the Amy's office, the person's got half a dozen other offers as well I have to fight with, okay? Yep. I'm worried about me.
Understood.
Not the hiring manager. Okay,
Understood.
I don't want to go out and do the search again. Stefan. Oh, can I call you Stefano? I like that. Is Stefano okay? His wife's Italian.
Yeah.
Stefano, go ahead. Do you want to say anything about that?
Everything's a negotiation. So when you want a candidate badly enough, you'll make a time for them. And if you're the recruiter and you're trying to make it happen, then their priorities are what they are. You can get in as tight as you can with the hiring manager and make things happen. But there's a line. If you can't go past the line, you can't go past the line. Everyone's got their own level of flexibility.
I don't know. I guess I'm more volatile than you people. I just can't stand the thought. Okay.
You got to look at the relationship, though. I mean, with this one candidate, you could blow your whole relationship with a hiring manager. That's where your money is.
Stupid. Okay.
But that's where your money is. I mean.
Okay.
You know, I have to say on that point, it comes down to what kind of relationship you have. Is it a contingent recruiting agency relationship, or are you a corporate recruiter? The approach is going to vary based on that.
Yeah, because the corporate recruiters have it easy.
Getting that. Silly me.
We gotta go. We gotta go with that one.
Okay, here's the second. Now, Amy thinks I don't know how to host a show. Okay, she had to fill in all the details that I left out for a reason. Okay, what if it's
What
not
reason
the
was that?
Well, what if it's not the hiring manager who's causing the problem? What if it's the candidate? The hiring manager wants to see the candidate. The hiring manager's not going away for spring break. Okay. The candidate says, "Oh, I'm going to Miami with my family. I can't," just like Ernie said, they're going to be at the beach. I'm not going to do an interview. I need my personal time. What happens if it's that? Who wants to? Mike Rasmussen, you're the guest. You take first shot. If it's the candidate.
Well, that candidate, if you can tell them, hey, we got to fill this position as soon as possible. I can't guarantee what the hiring manager is going to do if you don't interview this week. They may have you could tell them, hey, I've got a hot candidate already.
So nobody gets heavy with these people. Nobody really tries to pressure them. That's what I'm gathering.
Anytime I've got heavy with a candidate in the past, it's always blown up in my face.
Gotta be honest.
When you try and twist arms, you twist them too far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be your candidate anymore if that was the case. We'd be done.
Yeah.
What about this guy who I'm going to say coaches. I don't know if he's going to like that word. But what about you advise job hunters? What if the job one of your clients he's got a job with a great company, he's going away or she's going away for spring break with her family, and they let you know about that and say, well, you know what, I told them I don't want the interview right until I come back. What would you say? Boy wonder.
Well, it depends. If they're active or passive candidates, right, that would sometimes determine as to how I'm going to navigate them through it. But I would, all things being equal, have the conversation. Make yourself available. Go somewhere where you can have a quiet time around you. Have the conversation. I mean, if you're stuck on an airboat petting alligators at a particular time, you're not going to be able to take the interview. But do your best to either take the interview or reschedule it for somewhere in and around there. Do your best, absolutely, to make yourself available. Now, why is a candidate that's unemployed going on vacation? There's the first problem. Okay, I tell them, but what are you going on vacation for? Where do you get your money? You should have spent it all on me already by now.
They married well.
So that's number one. Number two,
this person's unemployed. Has no other options. I just want to clarify.
The person was unemployed, had no other options.
That we know that for certain. Oh, that's what you're saying.
Take the interview. Drop what you're doing. Make yourself available. And if you've prepared yourself accordingly up until this point, you don't need you don't need all of your materials in front of you.
We got your point. We got your point. Finally, someone.
So regardless of the situation, regardless of why they're unemployed, assuming they are, regardless of how many other recruiters are up their ass, regardless of how many other interviews are waiting for them to get back, you're saying none of that shit matters. Do what I told you.
That's what I recommend. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He's right.
Take the interview. Take the interview.
Here's the takeaway from this.
Jeremy makes a really good point on candidates being passive or active. If you're chasing the candidate or they're chasing the job, then the boot's on the other foot. So if you've headhunted someone and you're trying to twist their arm or persuade them, then it's a whole different conversation.
No, it's not, Stephen. Don't you know the recruiters are totally in charge and you have to do everything they say on their timing? Candidates don't get to say.
Okay.
And it sounds like if they're not excited about it, then your chances are 50-50.
Because that's obviously the only solution. Somebody's actually going on vacation. They must not be excited about a new job.
No drama.
Now it's also clear.
I mean, you got to look at it from the recruiter side. Just no drama.
Y'all need to look at it from the candidate side. I think that's the problem.
What are the other variables?
The candidate's doing that thing with there's no drama. Go on, do your thing.
You know what? Ernie nailed it. That's the thing with you guys. There's no drama. I see this as very dramatic. Michael G. Cox, any comments before we move on?
Okay, yes. First of all, I just had this happen to me. So I'm trying to figure out how to suss out their level of interest earlier in the conversation. I had an individual who took he was very excited, he's very interested in an opportunity, and then he took a video interview, final interview. Dude's wearing a t-shirt, kind of like me, but I'm not interviewing here. He's wearing a ball cap, kind of like me, and he was in a taxi cab. So what that does is it just communicates, yeah,
You're answering a different question. Okay. You said this just happened to me. The guy took the interview. That's the whole point here.
He did what he was told.
It's not just taking the interview. You got to actually prepare for it and look a little bit more presentable.
There's so many more rules. Okay, I gotta start writing stuff down here. This is
no,
important.
Screw that. It's not a rule.
It is not just take the interview. It's take the interview in the exact way, place, time, date, dress code that I want you to. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Or
write that down.
That's what a drive-through ordering.
We don't have this in the easy world of corporate recruiting.
Moving on. I want to close this up. In my opinion,
Amy,
That's
hold up.
Thank you, Amy.
Animal, pump your brakes, chill out, let the conversation happen.
Just
Amy,
let it
you think somebody's really qualified and you think they're really good for the gig, but then they pull some bullshit like not showing up or showing up.
But that's not what we're talking about.
Sorry.
Not showing up is bad. No one's going to say that's not
Michael's
bad.
talking his own story right now. He's trying to.
I'm just saying, let the dude have a vacation. That's all I'm saying.
Dude wasn't on a vacation. He just forgot about the interview. Then it pops up on his calendar. He's like, oh shoot, I've got this.
Showed up at least.
So
Michael's
that guy. Having a different conversation. I thought we were still on the vacation part.
But I like that guy.
Michael moved on without me.
Okay, I think he had a decent candidate. You know, you could say, hey, look, he's in a t-shirt, big fucking deal. Okay, sorry.
No,
it was
Mike told me not to
limited edition
swear.
recruiting in yoga pants t-shirt.
Okay, you know what, everybody? Recruitinginyogapants.com is Amy's website. She's got all kinds of great information there, and she sells stuff, especially t-shirts for recruiters that you're going to like at a good price. And it goes to charity.
All proceeds go to the NOAA Center, which is my local animal shelter.
Okay.
I make no money off of this.
Okay. And I'll do an ad right now too for Honeit, HONEIT.com, because I think they might be the only sponsor who will continue to pay me. I don't know. We'll have to see. And he showed up. The sponsor showed up.
I'll slip you a $5.
Honeit, HONEIT.com. You call a recruiter and a candidate, call into a website. It records the interview, audio, video, if you want it, and a searchable transcript, full transcript. And not only that, you press a button before an important question, and then you press a button after you're finished talking about that. It creates a little clip that you can send encrypted to anybody in the hiring committee and the stupid hiring manager. Sorry, everybody, but that's who you're going to send it to. Honeit.com, HONEIT.com. Okay, I just want to say I liked that Jeremy was tough with that unemployed candidate and said, look, you take the interview. I like that Stephen said, you know what, if I think other people said it too, if it's a passive candidate that you recruited, you don't have any leverage there.
No.
Okay?
If they're passive, you got to hope they'll take it the week after.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Also,
know why job seekers hate recruiters so much.
Are they drinking like before the interview too? Because that's a big recommendation.
Okay. Well,
I mean, if I'm on vacation, yes.
Maybe
Right.
Maybe Michael G. Cox is
Bloody Marys, margaritas.
Okay.
Right on.
Morning and evening.
Actually,
I get it.
I copied something that Stephen O'Donnell posted on the. I'm getting confused with his name. Posted because he's so fussy about it. He posted on Facebook the other day or yesterday, I think, that it's a real no-no if the candidate eats on a Zoom interview. Is it? Anybody?
Yeah.
Mike,
Yeah.
we'll start with you, Mike. If your
Seriously,
candidate starts snacking on something,
This is the heavy hitting, topic that we're covering. It's like
These are the big questions.
You'd
If
be
I'm having
surprised.
Is it a lunch
conversation-
interview?
if I'm having a conversation
Yeah.
with another human being, I'm going to keep food outside of my mouth unless we're having dinner together.
well, what if it's peanuts or
Actually,
potato
can I
chips?
confess to something?
Even then, you're not there to eat.
Something.
It's common sense not to eat, on an interview, but
I interviewed a recruiter years ago, and idiot me, I went and hired her. She was chewing gum in the interview, and it was an in-person interview. She was chewing gum, and after about 5 minutes, I said, "Are you chewing gum?" And she totally forgot. And then we carried on the interview. She was good enough to hire, but she was not good enough to hire because she was just nuts. And I'm the idiot who offered her.
But is that a problem, chewing gum?
Listen,
No, what you do is when you get
In an
to a
interview.
face-to-face interview,
In
you
an
take it out
interview.
and stick it under their desk.
Yeah.
No.
For later.
Under the
You hand it to
interviewer's
them.
desk.
You hand it to them. There you go.
Yeah,
For
you take
later.
it. You got an ashtray. Got an ashtray.
Put it on the on your glasses. It just
Okay,
sits right
hold
there.
on a sec. Hold on a sec. Is really chewing gum? Is that a problem for anybody besides Steven? Is it?
Ugh,
Yes.
ugh. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
spit it
If
out.
you,
I
look,
mean,
it's not a
look,
problem.
You're modern.
If you
You're
got
modern people, Americans, most of you as well.
Rocket scientists don't grow on trees. I don't have the ability
Have
to
some
do that, Vicky.
situational awareness.
Okay.
Situational awareness or lack thereof.
Okay. What if here's another one, and it's real? I saw someone. What if the candidate doesn't want to use the camera? Just have their name up on the. Anybody? Mike.
Non-compliant.
all of this comes down to how many of those people exist in the world, and also, did you really screen out whether or not they were really interested in your opportunity?
I don't think you know that people are kooky until you get down to the rubber hits the road. But okay,
Well,
no,
then
Sometimes
spend
it
enough
takes
time with them
years.
to figure it
Okay.
out. I screwed up with this one dude because I wasn't really convinced, or I didn't spend enough time with the guy to actually realize that he's got other opportunities. So he's gonna, if these guys make me an offer and it's better than all the other ones, great, which is fine. But I didn't properly suss that out.
sus. Is
Recruiter's
that your
fault.
word of the day? Sus. You've said it a few
Sus.
times already. I don't like it.
I didn't
Sus.
properly sniff that
I never
out.
heard it.
Is that better?
I gotta Google it. I'm gonna Google it.
This
So also, this question I think is important. Is this a candidate's market or a company's market? Because when it's a candidate's market, they become very brave and start to push back on some of these things. When it's a company's market, then they'll do anything they can to score an interview and do well in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It all
And
comes
it's
down to the
really
it all comes down to the
problematic. I mean, I
individual.
get the reality of that for sure, right? But I think it's really problematic that we allow bad behavior to go unchecked on any side just because of the labor market.
Sure.
Like, people still
Absolutely.
deserve to be treated respectfully and allowed to take a vacation, even if they're unemployed. And it's actually kind of gross that we're like, oh, if you need a job, if you're unemployed, fuck off. Honestly, that's so rude.
That's true,
So
but not
rude.
everybody works at Amazon.
Oh,
You know.
God. I said this at Google. I said this at Microsoft. I said this at Zones.
Oh, she's showing you
I said
her
this at the
resume
12
now,
I know,
everybody.
like all the-
I'm not a
all the big-
nobody,
agencies
okay?
that I
I'm
worked
not a nobody.
at.
There's no
Hey,
Johnny's
Amy.
getting go there. It's all like the big
You're
companies.
working at home for a year, as Amy mentioned, okay, and your spouse can hear you talking on the phone, doing interviews, and he or she sends you text messages like this one: "Stop saying you know what I'm saying. You sound insane." Okay, if your husband or wife were
I know what you mean.
coaching you, saying, you sound like an idiot, don't do that, would you get mad? Anybody? Mike, are you working from home? It looks like it.
Yes, my wife is very supportive of me, and we have a kind of a common understanding. If she makes a suggestion, I do listen, but I will push back on some things. But we have that.
You got the guts to push back on your wife interfering with your job, man. You're quite the guy.
Are you saying we have an agreement that I do what she tells me?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Sometimes she
That's
lets
our
me do
agreement.
what I want. Okay.
As
Anybody else
Stephen
got
would
that
say,
problem?
Bowls of solid
Oh,
rock.
my family makes fun of my recruiter laugh. They think I sound really fake when I'm talking to candidates, and I always have an angry teenager slamming the door.
Yeah, I saw that
So,
before. Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
the recruiter laugh when you're on talking
I
to
don't
kids?
know. Y'all aren't funny, so you don't get to hear it. No, I'm kidding.
Go to her video.
I don't
There you
know. I think it's just my regular laugh, but my family swears I have a fake recruiter laugh. It doesn't make any sense to
Okay,
me.
go to
They're
her
nuts.
videos on YouTube. She's got tons of them, and it
You'll
sounds
hear it.
different. It sounds different than this.
Really?
What she's doing today. Yeah.
She lifts her head back.
Hey,
I don't
hey,
believe
Amy,
you.
Animal, I got a question or an
Go ahead.
observation to share.
Go ahead.
Number one, Stephen, when I'm on the screen speaking, could you please move aside just a few inches? Thank you. Number two, number
That's
two,
good.
Amy, I just had a conversation with like a senior sales recruiter at a very large organization, and she said, you've got a little bit harder on the outside because when they see me and they see that I'm on the inside, they actually do want to talk to me a little bit more. And I thought of you.
So easy.
Does anybody else, hold on, does anybody else have a problem with a wife or a husband coaching them? Because somebody else said, look, my significant other does that, and that's why we're not married anymore, okay? Tom Tuna said that. His wife used to do it. He says, that's one of the reasons we're not married. Some other person said, the significant other, I have to hold my tongue when they start bugging me. Anybody else? Nobody's got that.
I would definitely get it after the call, but not during the call.
But does your wife speak English?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a joke. It's a joke. She's Italian. I said she was Italian. Let me just say, Stephen, you know, I introduced Amy's got a website. You showed us just now your virtuosity with putting us all behind you on the screen there. You know what you're doing because you teach your business now is teaching people how to use video technology. You want to give your website in case anybody wants to consult with you?
Goingliveevents.com.
Liveevents.com. Liveevents.com.
Goingliveevents.com.
Goingliveevents.com. Mike Rasmussen, you didn't say what you do. Should we tell people what you do? I know I think it's clear you're a recruiter, but we used to give you a much bigger introduction.
I've been working for ADP for almost 9 years now. Okay. So I've been
I didn't want you to mention your company because I don't like people to get in trouble, but what kind of people are you recruiting?
Nobody's listening to this.
No.
Ouch. You know what? Hold on, Michael G. Cox. Hold on a second. I got an email from a guy this week.
Oh, no, you hold on. My apologies to the 3 people listening to this in the replay.
Yeah, the guy said, I'd never heard of him before. His name is Faulkner or something. And he said, are you doing shows anymore? Because he goes to Blog Talk Radio, right? And there's no new shows there. Okay. So there you go.
Well, you haven't done the podcast, man.
Okay.
We got to go back to Mike and let him finish his answer. He didn't. I thought he had a few more things to say. He was ready to go.
Okay, well, hold on a second.
In an environment where I am mainly doing the client-facing roles that we do. And I've also been dabbling in some sales recruiting and tech of late too.
Okay, do you have any questions we've got MikeRecruiter.com, but what's your thesalesrecruiter.com? That's Michael G. Cox. Do you have any questions for him about, or do you want to talk about some challenges you've had with salespeople recently?
My answer is run. Just run.
Make sure they're interested.
Okay, you don't have any questions. Okay, does anybody else have a topic they want to discuss before I go on? Anybody?
I'm just excited to see what you've got next.
Okay, I got all these little things. Okay.
There's Terry Albright. I do have a question.
He doesn't come anymore for some reason. He stopped when we were in the podcast.
Oh, really? Ooh, that's been a while.
I haven't paid him for a long time because no one pays me. So
what's your Venmo? I'll pay for my ad.
Okay. Here's the thing. Okay. This woman got mad. She says, she's a techie. She says, why do tech recruiters tell me that they're diversity recruiters? And they even tell me that they're trying to fill a diversity quota. She and lots of other people have written about that. They get really insulted. I thought it's kind of good that they know the companies are trying to be diverse. Okay. Mike Rasmussen, is that wrong to go and contact someone and say, you know, I'm looking for diverse people and you're one of them, and I'd like to have a chat with you about this job?
That's the best lead off.
Can you be our token?
The problem with that is that you're making them feel like they're just a number to you by saying that, and I think that's why they get offended in some respects. I can respect that point of view. I think you can tell them, hey, you know, we're a diverse company that is looking to hire diverse talent, but I don't think you need to lead off with, hey, you're diverse, that's the reason I want to approach you. That's kind of a dumb thing to say if you ask me.
Everybody else
even
agrees?
worse if you say you'll be the first Jewish person to come and work here, so we really need to fill up that slot, or Latino or whatever.
Well, in fact,
we're not diverse, but would like to be.
In fact, what she said was, she said, white women, which she says, by the way, white women aren't diverse. Okay. There's a lot of that now. White women aren't diverse.
Interesting.
It's ridiculous. It's can't win situation because, we want to inject more diversity into these companies. The companies are acquiescing and doing all this stuff. And you come out and say, hey, look, we're trying to add some diversification into our company, and we've noticed that you've got the background of blah 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 blah. She's going to get pissed off. like you can't win. You just can't win.
Maybe.
Hiring-
And I'm
hiring
just,
women
I mean,
isn't
as a white
diversity
woman,
hire,
I
it's
know
a
this is
quality
going to
hire.
sound really crazy, but maybe, hey, you've got a really great background doing these things that we're hiring for. Let's have a conversation, and maybe just don't even bring up the fact that I'm a woman. How about that?
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Sure.
That's what Mike
I know, it
Rasmussen said.
sounds crazy, right?
Sure.
Wait, when
The
you say
audacity of
background,
hiring
do you
someone
mean
based
like
on their skills and abilities.
He probably gets annoyed with what that new term mansplaining, because they're
Not new anymore. It's old hat, buddy.
It's not new,
I was
baby.
about to explain. Hey,
You gotta-
Amy, I was about to mansplain.
coming from, and you don't do that by talking about, oh, I need to fill a number. Here's
That's all.
you were first, so I'm reaching out. No, that just doesn't sound good.
Okay, Mike, let me
Exactly
tweak that. Mike, let me tweak it. Mike, let me tweak it. What if you say, you don't mention diversity, but then when you've got a slate of 3 candidates, you say, look, they would really like to hire somebody who's diverse. And so I think you have a leg up for that. From what you've said before, I see that also as insulting. It's an insult to their professional ability. And so you should just banish any talk of diversity, even if that is part of your motive in calling that person. Is that right? Is that everybody going to agree on that?
So stunning.
Michael, because I think we need to quantify this a bit more. Say this is something that you found using, sometimes you can go to like a meetup.com and you find a candidate that's associated with, say, they have their background, they're part of a diverse group, and you can tell them that's where you found them. So for instance, if they were Latino, it might be a Latino business professionals organization, right? And if that's where you found them, just tell them that and say, hey, I was just looking in this group. And
Oye,
that's
te
all.
encontré en
I
este
think the first
grupo.
thing to do is
Quería
to
saber
make
si
sure
te
that your
interesaba
pool is
algo.
diverse, and then you'll have a rich team of good
Okay.
candidates across the
Don't
board.
wanna leave
So if your pool is diverse in the first place,
Oh, your background is, we're looking for diverse talent, and now you're a number type thing. I don't think you want to go there.
The whole thing with diversity is kind of strange, because what is diversity? And nobody comes on and defines it. They say, we want diversity. So you got a bunch of white men or a bunch of white women, and what do you do? And then they got to hire.
Go out and find
you ask yourself, okay, what do you give up? If you're a white male and you're in a all white company, what do you give up? Nobody wants to give up power. Nobody wants to give up their role. No one's going to step down.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Ernie. You're confusing me.
Well, look at the word diversity. What does that mean?
Okay.
It means something different to everybody.
Mhm.
And no one sits down and says, we need a diversity, and what we need is this and this and this, because this is what we don't have. And what's the purpose of creating diversity?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to go into that now. Although they always say.
Well, you asked the question.
No, I didn't ask that question. You guys twist my questions. Here's the answer to that.
We try to make sense. Let me mansplain what Animal just said.
Someone, please.
We try to make sense of your questions.
Okay. Here's what the thing is. Any kind of diversity. If you know that someone is a Republican and you're a Democrat in the United States, you don't assume that they know the same things as you do, so you try harder. It creates personal friction, but you try to explain your ideas more. That makes you think things through, and that makes you more productive. That's the simplest and best description, but it's really an anti-discrimination issue. I don't want to go into depth. I have some very more important things. I know people who watch this who don't like me are going to bury me for this show with the dumb questions I'm asking, but here's another one. Okay,
there's a lot to be said about consistency, though.
Yeah. Hold on.
If you thought those were dumb questions, here's another one.
Okay. Yeah, here's another one. Right. You get on Mike. This is for Mike Rasmussen first. You get on Zoom for a video interview. You ask the candidate, how are you? Okay. Now, we're always told that building rapport is very important. So the candidate says, good. I was just watching The Getaway with Ali McGraw and Steve McQueen, and I think she's just gorgeous. What would you say? Is that bad to talk about what a woman looks like? That's the question, really.
I mean, if that's, they're saying it's an actress, right? I mean, it's an actress that's on TV. People are going to say that. are going to have a natural reaction. Hey, she's gorgeous. I see nothing wrong with that. That's not.
And so, no, would you say as well? No, I'm talking about your building report. Oh yeah, I saw that too. I think she's just beautiful. Would you? Is that okay to say that?
Yeah. Why
Yeah.
not?
Anybody else want to comment on that?
I mean, is this just like in general conversation, like
the
over
person
lunch
you
or
got
something?
chit-chat.
I don't
No,
see the
no,
big
no. You
deal.
start up the interview, and then you try to have a little bit of, instead of talking about the Maple Leafs or the Boston Bruins or the hockey game last night, you ask what's going on. And the person says, I watch this interview. I'm in love with this actress, right? And I'm wondering if you're already going into it.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, that's
You
interesting.
went from she's pretty to I'm in love with her.
Okay, well, I was going to say,
Yeah. Are you
Animal-
stalking this woman?
okay,
What,
okay,
what colors do
I'm
you
dropping
see,
that
like,
one.
normally?
Okay.
Like, do you have like little bubbles of color just like all over the place?
Here's
Are you
another
lit
one.
up on something
Is it
right
okay
now?
to say, are you vaccinated? Hey, just for rapport, for chit chat. Hey, you been vaccinated yet?
No.
Is that okay?
That was, yeah, I was hoping you'd bring that up. No, no, it is not acceptable to ask that.
Against
Why not?
what? I got a lot of
Jeremy's been waiting all so
vaccinations.
long.
Takes it into a whole different direction because the whole idea is to be able to control the narrative, right? And it takes it into a whole different direction, thus leaving you kind of exposed to an area where you should not be going.
Okay,
Do-
I'll go now.
Is it required that I'm vaccinated for this job? Are there any
I
get
other stupid,
inoculated
unrelated questions
daily.
you'd like
What?
to ask me
I-
before I flip the table and leave?
I wasn't.
Animal, all of these interviews are being on video these days, and you have to presume that the person on the other side is recording their side of it. So whatever you say, don't go crossing lines. Don't make yourself look an idiot.
Well, that's
that
why I
can
asked
be
the one
brought
about
up
Ali
later on.
McGraw, because then you might have said, look, I saw the later remake of that, and Kim Basinger had played her role, and I used to think she was the most beautiful woman in the world, and you can start talking like that, okay? That's how I talk in
Oh,
real
dear.
life. That's how.
How many job interviews are you doing that in?
No, I haven't done it at any job interviews, but people, especially here, people here are talking. It's hard to get. There's a limitation of. We don't have much vaccine here. We're begging.
Yeah.
We're going and begging for it to the States and stuff
I
like that.
see.
So everybody's always talking about. Are you old enough to get vaccinated and stuff like that? It's constant discussion here. Okay.
We should definitely ask how old they are too. This is going well. Yeah,
Okay.
this is good.
I'll come back to it.
Are you planning on getting pregnant anytime soon?
That's another good one. Yes, let's go there for sure.
Okay.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
an
I'll
issue
ask.
in the States? Like
Do you like men or women?
ability account. That might be sensitive here, something that you could get in trouble for in the States.
Okay.
That way.
Here's a question that's more straightforward. Apparently, it's against the law to text passive candidates. Is that because you don't have, they didn't give you or publish their phone number, their mobile number, and you're not allowed to. Shally said he does it. He texts them up to 3 times maximum. But apparently there's somebody else said there's state and federal laws in the US against doing that. Anybody text people cold to recruit them?
Yes.
Specifically out in Utah, where I am, that's not a big deal. I don't think we have that law. There are some places, some states that might have stricter laws. I don't know exactly where those are, but I do know under the law that's out in Europe, the Global Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, that might be an issue out there. I don't know.
We got a European here. I don't know if he considers himself one.
Yeah.
From Glasgow. What's the
I
story
qualify. Yeah. So I would never contact a candidate by text in the first place as an intro. There's so many other ways that you can be contacting candidates, but
they don't like any of them.
I mean, I wouldn't be.
They complain. Oh, you emailed me at work. He emailed me at home. He phoned me. He left me a voicemail. They're always complaining.
I actually did a poll on LinkedIn about this.
How did
come out?
the results, Amy?
Yeah.
50% preferred personal email. I'm going to look it up real quick. I think there's still like another day left on the poll, but we got like 5,000 responses. Like it's a pretty good sample size.
That's awesome.
Okay, hold on. Let's go back to Stephen for a second. So you said there's better ways. Before I interrupted you, sorry. What were you going to suggest?
I go back to the days when I would wait outside a factory gate to try and get a hold of someone, if I couldn't get my hands on them, or go to the pub that they were all drinking in after work. So whatever it takes to get your hands on the candidate, but I'd rather be speaking with them than sending them a message.
No, here's the thing.
So
What
I'd be
works?
happy to phone someone at the work, even though I know candidates are reluctant to receive calls from anyone. But I'm
You've
more
got-
inclined to make the call than send a text.
You've
So
got
this is
options.
crazy. So this is 4,000, almost 4,800 votes. 50% prefer personal email. 35% prefer in-mail. And I looked at some of the people responding, they were mostly recruiters. And only 12% want a phone call or text.
Oh, interesting.
No, here's the
But
thing.
but the
You
thing
got
with
phone, you mentioned email, you mentioned text, smoke signals, all of that. What a candidate wants is for you to disappear and reappear magically when they need an opportunity, and then get the hell out of my life again.
So LinkedIn does provide up to 4 poll options. And I also added, don't contact me, I'll call you. That only got 3% of the vote.
See, the thing is that most people will read their text. It's like an addiction. They'll see their text. They may not hear their voicemail. They may not see their email. So what I do is I will call them. I will then send them an email, and then I'll send them a text to tell them to check their email. I just sent you an email. Check it out.
Yeah, but where did you get their cell phone number if it's not on a resume? You don't. They didn't apply for the job. They don't have you don't have a resume.
You can. It's all over the place. You can find them.
Whois.com. There's ways.
Okay,
There's ways of finding them.
Hold on, let's bring in. Here's the diverse person here. Okay, Jeremy Worthington. What's your website? What's your
WorthingtonCareers.com, BuckeyeResumes.com. Choose one.
Okay, Buckeye. That's easiest. BuckeyeResumes.com. Do your clients who are job hunters, would they mind if they got a text as a first contact from a recruiter?
So they always come back with, is this
Can you
real
move
or
away
not?
from your mic? You're driving me crazy. Okay.
Off or on? Off or on? Is that better?
Off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Off. Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
better.
Yeah.
Okay. So they they see that as being a scam. First, if a recruiter reaches out to them, they assume first that it's a scam. They check in with me. Is this legit? So should I follow it up? So I teach them to absolutely follow a couple of these up, because you'll then begin to be able to tell when it is a scam and when it's not. But I don't recommend, as on the other side of the equation, that people reach out. If you're interested in a candidate, you should go old school and call them. But clients that receive texts, because I'm putting them on a lot of job boards as well. So they're getting, they are very skeptical as to what they're getting via these platforms, because there's a lot of shit going on out there, right? And so they check in with me, but they would prefer not to get a text as the first touch point.
Okay. So you're not dealing with passive, so it's hard for us to say.
Oh, yes, I am. Sure, I am.
Okay. So
Passive
what's the
active.
how do they want to be approached in a way that is going to appeal to them?
Phone, email. Just the list was read off. Phone, email, LinkedIn, in mail, or the little LinkedIn messenger.
Do they answer their voicemail? Do they answer their voicemail?
They do check in their voicemail, and they're taught to leave a proper voicemail greeting, so y'all know who you're calling.
You're
and,
teaching them.
Yeah.
Most of them are don't seem to. Okay, like
I read
Absolutely.
my voicemail.
Oh yeah, how?
Yes.
How?
It just like turns it into text and I read it.
Yeah,
Go
you
into
can
my
do
list
that
of
too.
voicemail and I read it. I don't listen to
too.
it ever.
Okay.
So if it's garbled and unable to be read, I have no idea what you left me.
But here's the thing. Just text, just a voice message, all of that does not work.
Yeah.
But in conjunction with a proper campaign that might include email, I'm not talking about job seeker. Maybe Jeremy, you can shed some light on that aspect of it. But I will say and leave in a voice message, and I will send text messages, and I will email on the business development side and on the candidate side. Even if they don't, like Amy doesn't listen to it, Michael,
But she
Zach
reads
works. She can see that, and maybe she doesn't even respond. That's okay, because I also sent an email that references the text, the phone message, the message on LinkedIn. I don't use InMail, so it's all of that. And they're like, "Who the shit is this dude?"
Has
Then I
anybody
finally get a response.
has
And I want enough information to verify you. I want to be able to look you up. I want a link to a website. I want something that's actually going to show me that you're a legitimate person that I should return your call.
Can you do that?
I'm not calling about your social security number having been being investigated.
Jeremy said that's
or
a
your
big
extended
issue.
car warranty.
Jeremy said that's a big issue. Okay, that's a big issue. They get the message and they don't know if
they're skeptical.
legit. Okay,
Sure.
hold on a sec. The GDPR, Mike, who's disappeared, mentioned it. Has anybody been charged? Have any recruiters been charged by these European countries, Stephen?
Well, the fines can be up to 20 million, but as far as I know, there's been a couple of examples made of agencies in Europe, but none in the UK that I know of.
Okay, so like Shally says he does it. He'll send 3 texts, right? Okay, we had this guy Mark Hershey on a few weeks ago, and I was just looking at something he told us, and I thought it was pretty good. We're going to close out.
The recruiting expert.
He wrote the book, the career tool. You might like it,
based
Jeremy,
on his
the
background
career
in recruiting.
toolkit book. Yeah, .com. Anyway, I liked it. He said,
"Has he ever been a recruiter?"
No, I had the luxury of being raised by a recruiter.
Yeah,
no, not you.
His mom. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, thank you, Mike. Okay, appreciate that.
I thought recruiters were raised by wolves.
Here's what Hershey said.
How dare you?
Okay, he hates recruiters, but this is what he liked. He said, if the recruiter sends him this message, here's a role that's at your level or above, and I think it might be of interest to you because I've looked at your background and I know the industry, and I'm pretty sure this would be appealing. Something like that lets them know that you have examined them personally. That's what's going to be compelling. I like that one personally. I would consider using it myself.
It's close to really good.
You need to throw some unique elements in there, not something that could be a message that's gone out to 500 other people.
Okay, so you have to add something specific to that. Then you have to say, I like this about Stephen. You're saying you have to tweak it and say, I
can see you worked at this company. I can see that you've had this kind of project experience. Then mention that. Then it seems unique.
Okay, let's go around before Ernie.
I don't think you have to do that so long as your list is tight. So if your list is like I'm doing recruiting for a BPO, customer experience outsourcing type organization. So I should have a list of individuals that have experience in that. And then I can say, hey, based on your experience within this industry and taking a look at your background, I think this might be something that you might be interested in, but we need to have a conversation. Yeah. And I do that stuff. If I'm sending like a video and I don't say, hey, Stephen, I'll just say, hey, Michael G. Cox here. Listen, I just wanted to share with you. I think this might, based on, but we don't know. So I'm not trying to make that assumption and which harkens back to the whole, I've got the perfect opportunity for you.
It's so easy to just say, hey, I don't know if this resonates with you, but it's an example of something that I think could work. But more importantly, let's talk about what you would want to hear from someone like me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or let me know.
Else. Okay. Go ahead.
No, just because then you open the door to a conversation. And if this doesn't make sense for you, hey, let me know what does, and I won't bother you until I've got that. And I might not ever. And that's cool.
One thing that I think is sometimes very true of candidates is, you have to remember, we're not hiring robots here, we are hiring people, and we have to look at what they
say that
in.
Don't listen to him, Sherman.
No, sure. So you always have to remember, what if you have done your research, you've done your homework, you've gone and you've tried to figure out all the necessary details you can about that candidate. One of those things is their interests and what's going to break the ice with them. So if you can possibly get that as much of that information.
Ali McGraw.
People have emotional currency. You got to find it and help them spend it.
Okay, hold on a second. I watched a video by Amy that I thought was very good just before the show.
Thanks.
It's called "Recruiting is a Numbers Game," and she gets out her little whiteboard and she shows you. Sometimes she'll send out 100 outreach emails.
I don't.
Okay, well, theoretically. Well, you
somebody
said,
might.
No, but sometimes she'll say just what Mike And the two mics were saying, if you have a very targeted list, you know, and she said, yeah, so you'll only send out 15, but it takes a lot of work to get the targeted list, and a recruiter doesn't always have time to do that. Okay.
Then they're doing it wrong.
That's
if you
not
gotta
what you
chop
said.
down,
That's
if
not
you
what you
have six,
said.
that is what I said. If you listen to it on double speed and I talk fast, so you're really missing out.
That's why you're laughing. Now I get it. You're laughing because I'm
There's the
hearing
laugh.
it at
That's the
double
laugh.
speed.
That was the
Okay.
laugh.
That's the insincere laugh right there.
Okay. Who else wants to get in on this one before we're finished? Ernie, did you say something already?
No, I did not say anything. I think they've covered it pretty well.
Ernie's the
you
food recruiter.
You send something out, hopefully they'll bite and they'll get back to you.
Okay.
And then
You know,
next time
I gotta go to a meeting.
Then
Bye,
you
guys.
change it a little bit. Then
Okay.
you change it, tweak it, so you get it
Okay.
right.
Oh, now we're all big. Okay. Any final words from anybody? Anybody want to say something?
No.
Thank you.
Going once, going twice. Mike Rasmussen, he had to go somewhere too, I guess. He's been on many. Listen,
What's your guess?
if you have watched this show to the very end, okay,
There he is.
this guy's been on about 4 or 5 times, okay? It's not that bad. He's a mild-mannered person, and he likes it, okay? Thank you, Mike Rasmussen, for coming
Yep.
to...
Is that a new hairdo with Mike?
Yeah, I think so. We commented on it
New
already.
gel.
No, I know,
Brand
but
new
I wanted to
gel.
know if it was a new one since he's been on before.
Well, now, so
It's a home haircut.